has never gotten it and continues to just talk about the Jets when we have all moved on. Carlin, 98.7 ESPN, 800-919-3776, 800-919-ESPN, also on Twitter at Chris Carlin. By all means, join us over there as well. And we, of course, are on the video stream at ESPN New York's Twitter handle, ESPN NY 98.7's Twitter handle, and, of course, ESPN New York's Facebook page, where you can leave comments, you can chime in, you can do all of it. You can see the visual because that is something you need. I really had never planned on speaking about Jamal Adams, frankly, ever again, unless he somehow ended up with the Giants or something down the line. That was the day he got traded, after that happened. I think we've talked about him 3 or 4 times since then. And the reason why we have is because Jamal won't stop talking about the Jets.
Is one of the most
just won't stop talking about the Jets. I don't understand why Jamal Adams won't stop talking about the Jets. And there is a remarkably frustrating, angering, and stupid angle to all of this. In case you missed it, Jamal went on a podcast that's hosted by Patrick Peterson and Bryant McFadden, a couple of defensive backs, McFadden being a former DB, and aired it all out about his time with the Jets. And when I say he aired it all out, we're talking about 13 consecutive minutes during which he did not stop talking about the situation. Here is a brief sample of Jamal Adams from, what is it called? All Things Covered? What is that? What's the name of the podcast, Brian Mungia?
Yes, All Things
Covered. Witty for defensive backfield, I guess. But, good name, good podcast, and credit to them because they got the interview with Jamal. And here's 50 seconds of a bizarre 13-minute dissertation.
Man, we finished 7-9.
You are down 50 seconds.
Locker room. Everybody was happy, clapping it up, and it was just like, what do I really want? Can I stand this again? Because, bro, I fought depression in New York, bro. And I'm man enough. Really? I fought depression, bro.
Wow.
Oh, there's been so many times to where I've came home after a loss, a tough loss, and just sat in my room, bro, in the dark. No phone, no TV, and Pops would walk in and be like, hey, man, you all right? He hated to see me like that. It killed my pop so much, come to find out. He was calling my agent at the time and said, hey, man, I don't like seeing my son like this. I need him out of this situation. So it got so bad to where it took a toll on my life.
10.
Football, to where I had to make a move. I had to get out there because I knew what I wanted. And I wanted to win. It was like, man, they do not want to win.
So he talked about that quite a bit, but yet throughout the entire 13 minutes, he kept interspersing the whole idea about getting paid, that it was all the Jets that wanted to pay him. We understand, we know what the story was, that they told him they wanted to make a Jet for life, and that later on he felt disrespected, and I understand that. Players seek their motivation out of disrespect, and Jamal, of course, mentioned that later on in this interview. But there were so many things about it that were frustrating. Number one would be Jamal's equating depression with what he was dealing with. Now, I want to be clear. I'm someone that has dealt with depression and mental illness before. Members of my family have. Many, many people, millions of people across this country have dealt with depression. What Jamal is talking about is not depression. There's a difference between sadness and depression. You can sit in your room in the dark after games, after losing a game, and feel bad and feel down and not be happy. That's fine. Depression is something that has you questioning everything, including about yourself, and it is not miraculously cured by getting traded. What Jamal is talking about in depression, and he may not know any better, So I'm not frankly, in the mindset of cutting him a little bit of slack, but in that case, maybe he just doesn't know what it is, okay? What Jamal was feeling was down, which is something that every human alive feels at one point or another. It has nothing to do with depression. And frankly, that's insulting to those who do deal with it on a regular basis. Secondly, Jamal continued throughout to discuss about how this was never about him getting paid, yet he kept bringing up not getting paid. In fact, on at least 3 different occasions, said that the Jets, were a bad football team, but he'd continue to be there and he would have stayed if they would have paid him. Does anyone doubt for 1 second that Jamal Adams would still be here if the Jets had decided to give him a contract after last season? Was it really all that bad, Jamal, that the money would not have even solved the problem? Well, no, because he admitted it on at least 3 different occasions. He would have stayed. So when he says things like they just didn't want to win, what it translates to is they just didn't want to pay me and other people. And so if that's the case, you got what you wanted. And he even admitted, I had to go to extremes to get what I wanted. And what I wanted was out. I didn't want to be there anymore because they had not shown me the money. Oh, depression magically cured as you go to Seattle. And this is what it's supposed to be like and all that. We all understand that things have been bad for a long time with the New York Jets. We don't need Jamal to point it out once again after he's been gone for about 6 months or whatever it is now at this point. It's over with. When are you moving on? Because everybody else has. It was never about winning. It was never about winning. It was about getting paid. Jamal was upset about not winning and not getting paid. He wasn't just upset about not winning. Let's be clear. Those are 2 entirely different things. Money can help a lot of people make their way through a bad situation. And Jamal was clearly going to be more than okay with staying with what he thought was such an awful situation, yet, as long as he was getting paid, he could deal with it. I can tell you that there have been many, many instances of people I know where they have not been happy, but they have been getting paid, and that is how they justify staying through it. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's your ultimate goal, that's fine. But don't try to repaint history like it was something that it actually was. The Jets may have screwed up in their communication to Jamal's camp, but this idea that somehow it would have been all just fine if they had paid him, and they'd be winning right now if they had paid him. Are you high? Seriously, where does that come from? Because that's completely insane. Completely insane. And Jamal even said at one point that he had his agent tell him that after they made the trade, Joe Douglas told the agent, that they weren't going to pay him till 2022 anyway. Can I ask you a question? What GM in their right mind is ever going to say that to an agent who they're going to have to deal with again at some point, establishing something that would make them not credible? No GM would ever do that. That would be a remarkably dumb thing to do. So what I don't understand is this. Jamal's so much happier in Seattle now. But he spent 15 minutes straight today being completely 100%, 100% reliving his entire Jet existence. Is it about motivation? Is it about disrespect? What's it about at this point? Are you going to be saying the same things about Seattle if they decide not to pay you? Because the last time I checked, the Seahawks have the worst pass defense in the entire National Football League. The worst. Remember how people said that Jamal can't cover? Turns out, pretty accurate. Pretty accurate. A liability in coverage? Yeah. They have the worst by a mile, to the tune of 40 yards per game worse. They're giving up 353 yards a game passing. Last year, they were a little bit better. They were 7 or 8 spots better, but they were actually 90 yards per game better than they are this year. And Jamal, if you want to take it into analytics, has been rated as the 57th best safety this season. That's a 5-7 in the National Football League. You know, I flipped him on a couple of times, and every time I see him in coverage, he's getting smoked like a cheap cigar. So if Jamal is that much happier now, shut up. Stop reliving the past. Shut up. I understand sometimes the past can be difficult to let go of. But when you continue to talk about it publicly, and you continue to say how bad it was, and you continue to complain about the fact that they didn't pay you in the middle of a pandemic, and that they didn't want to win, and that was most important to you, even though you would have happily stayed through the losing had they come up with the money. Jamal Adams is a fraud. He's a charlatan. And frankly, he shouldn't be listened to anymore. We tried all to move on, yet somehow, since he's been traded, he's talked about how bad the Jets situation was for him on at least 3 different occasions, and they couldn't even stop him from talking about it today if they tried. Not that they would want to, because he's just absolutely saying one more inflammatory word after another. Dude, mind your business. And right now, your business should be stopping somebody, because nobody's doing that in Seattle. You might be 6-3. Nobody thinks you're winning a damn thing, and the defense is the reason why. 800-919-3776. There's a lot more to get to tonight, okay? This just frankly angered me because of the fact that we're still talking about this guy, because he's still talking about here. The Jet situation is bad enough. There is not a person out there, not one, who thinks that it would be better if he was here. You know what it would be? Worse. Because he couldn't shut up about it. Carlin, 98.7 ESPN, 716.
You are down, Chris. I sent you the link of the Google Docs for the call screener. It's the same one as yesterday.
As a man diagnosed
Same one.
cancer, identical twins. But knowing that no 2 cancer cases are alike, not even
A couple calls there too, so
to a
got Ira there.
whole range of leading-edge treatments and the highest possible rating
There you go, Chris.
National Cancer Institute.
All right, I got
We
it.
chose Promoter Cancer
Awesome.
NYU Langone Health.
The Perlmutter
Accidentally
Cancer
hit the
Center
button
team
at the beginning. That was not good.
Yeah, what was that? I was like, wait. was
Yeah,
that
I hit
you?
the wrong. I hit the buttons on my.
I was like, good thing it didn't have like any curse word, because I was like, oh no, is it a movie?
No,
scene?
no. Wouldn't have any curse words.
I was like, oh no.
appointments in one
Everybody on
At first, I thought
on the
it was
live
me.
stream right now gets to enjoy that.
Oh, okay. At first, I thought it was me, but you were so professional.
That's the thing. Just plow through.
That's
Just
great
go.
You acted like if it was like a neighbor or something like that. It was awesome.
Fees. The average Verizon wireless customer pays over
He does a
$120
live
a year
stream.
in
It
added
honestly
taxes
does.
and fees. With Spectrum Mobile, you'll pay $0
me off
in
to
added
no end.
taxes and fees.
That he
Many lines you
continues to
have.
talk
So stop paying
about the Jets.
saving.
And
at
I'm talking to the
Spectrum
live stream people because they're still watching.
SpectrumMobile.com/saving today. Spectrum Internet
Brian
required.
Murphy, by the way,
Visit
our
Spectrum.com/details.
Hello.
It really.
Ready for an oil change?
Don't
O'Reilly
talk about
Auto Parts has everything you need.
not
Our professional parts people can suggest the best products for your car and budget, like 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil, just $28.95. Plus, earn a $10 gift card after mail-in rebate and double O Rewards points. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
It's Jake.
Hey,
I'm here
Jake.
too tonight. I just had to wait for Andrew to finish up on the computer, but he's all good now.
Fumble it, crack it.
How you doing?
Good.
Well, Straight Talk Wireless now offers this new Platinum
All right,
Unlimited
let's see
plan
here.
that includes phone protection. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data, plus 20 gigs of hotspot, 100 gigs of cloud storage, and more. All on the best network. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Assurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
It was all a dream.
Here we go.
Magazine, salt and pepper and everything up in the limousine. Hanging pictures on my wall. Every Saturday, rap attack, Mr. Magic Molly Mall. I let my tape rock.
Go ahead.
All right, let's do it. Carlin, 98.7 ESPN, 800-919-3776. The cancel culture thing, I could easily go in on Jamal on this depression thing. I think, honestly, he doesn't know better. It's frustrating to me because, as I said, listen, put it in layman's terms. I'm screwed up in the head. Fair. But I've dealt with it, and I've seen family members deal with it on a much more debilitating level than me. And there are millions of people in the world that have dealt with depression. Don't take depression and use that for your purposes here. What you were was sad after the game. At least understand the difference between the two. But again, I don't expect him to be somehow knowledgeable in that scenario, because that's not depression. Just go look up what depression is versus what, feeling blue is. It's a little different. 800-919-3776. Let's hit the phones. Let's get to them. Let's go with Greg in New Jersey up first tonight. Greg, you're on 98.7 ESPN. What do you got, dude?
Chris, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. I love your work.
Thank you.
Chris, I couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree.
You're breaking up on me, man.
Am I okay there?
A little bit better.
Okay. Anyway, needless to say, I couldn't agree more with you. He's a malcontent. That's the word for Jamal Adams. Malcontent. You understand?
Yeah.
He's just a guy that really just says stuff out of his mouth. He doesn't even know what he's saying. And guess what? If he was with the Jets, what he sat out with 3 games with the Seahawks this year so far? 3 games or 4 games?
Yeah.
Guess what? He would have milked it for 6-7 with the Jets. So malcontent is the word. Thank you, brother.
I appreciate it. And listen, it's a lot of different things. It's not just malcontent. It's somebody that constantly has to search for motivation out of disrespect. And I don't have a problem with that. For Pete's sake, the greatest of all time, and Michael Jordan admitted he could take any little piece of anything and feel disrespected by it. And frankly, I get it. You look for whatever the edge is. This is different than that. This is, I can't let go of the past. I can't let go of what happened and how poorly they treated me. God, they made me the 6th overall pick in the draft. So awful. got to play in the biggest market in the world, the worst. And because they didn't handle your contract situation right, you came home and they're losing games and they're not where they need to be. Like, what exactly was going to happen, Jamal, that was going to turn it into an incredibly positive winning situation overnight? Like, you're talking about finishing 7-9 last year, and there was a group of guys that was actually feeling good about the fact that they had played better down the stretch of the season. And I respect the fact that 7-9 is not something you consider good. That's great. But instead of trying to help fix the situation, it was, let me get the hell out of here. You're not the first, you're not the last. Just stop. We have all moved on from you until, again, today. And what would make me think that you're not going to talk about them again at some point? There is nothing that would make me think that's the case. James in Spring Valley is next. 98.7 ESPN. James, what's going on, dude? How are you?
Good, Carlin. How's everything? Thank you for taking my call. And as someone who battles depression, hearing Jamal's comments makes me angry. First of all, I'm not even a Jet fan. I'm a Giant fan. And hearing those comments make me upset. Like, just admit that, you know what? I'm upset. The team didn't pay me, and then move on. But this dude is this dude just talks about the Jets like an ex still misses their lover. Like, it's embarrassing. It's truly upsetting. And to use the word depression for people like me who actually deal with it, it's infuriating and it's insulting. Just say that I was not happy because I didn't get paid. Now I'm in a better situation in Seattle, and that's that. And
I think, like I said, I could have easily gone in and just destroyed him on that alone. I think in Jamal's mind, that's parsing words. He doesn't understand depression versus unhappiness. And frankly, that's one of the biggest issues in this country when it comes to dealing with that there is a complete lack of understanding about mental illness. And this illustrates that. I'm not going to sit there and destroy him on that. I don't like it. It is insulting. He should get himself educated on it because it doesn't get solved when you get handed a bag of money.
Money doesn't solve anything. And quickly before I go, I just want to say thank you for taking my call, and you're doing a great job, man. Keep up the good work, and thank you again so much.
Appreciate that, James. Thanks for checking in. Jarv from down under in Australia on the video feed, the live stream. Unhappiness is not depression. No, it is not. It is not. Papo checking in. He's an elite player. The front office screwed up big time on this one. He's a box defender. Of course, his coverage is bad in the end. I'm still going to stick this one to the Jets. Well, you're wrong. You're wrong. They got a treasure trove of picks for him back, and it is only going to help in the rebuilding process. Great. He's a box safety who can rush the passer every once in a while. Their defense is worse with him there. It's worse. Who would pay him? Why would you pay him? What is he doing to make you a better team? Explain that to me. Stopping a run? It's a passing league. Rush the passer? Go get a few sacks? Okay. He is the 57th rated safety at his position this year. 5'7". There are 64 starting safeties in the NFL. He wants to be paid like a franchise player, which he also talked about in there, and somehow does not understand that you have to actually produce to get money. That's how it works in the NFL. Ira in Staten Island. Ira, I thought after he was gone that we wouldn't hear about it again, but it's been 3 or 4 times now.
Yeah, Chris, you're so right, and I'm so sick of it. And I'm going to go out of character if you give me an extra second or two tonight. So everything you said, you know what? Greg Williams covered him up because of his lack of coverage skills last year. They had to play him up on the line because he was a liability in coverage, all right? Listen, he has the heart, okay? He leaves it all out on the field. But guess what? He's a me guy. He's not a team guy. And the first day I met him, okay, before he ever stepped a foot on a practice field for the New York Jets, I had him pegged. I knew he would never sign a second contract, and I knew he would force his way out of here because I'm a pretty good guy with judging character, and I had him pegged from a mile away. And you know what? He's never going to be happy. Thank goodness, okay, that they didn't give him a huge contract because this team, you're right, it would have been worse. Could you imagine Jamal Adams on the Jets at 0-9? What would be going on right here, right now?
He would be making the
world would be
situation
coming down.
infinitely worse.
It would be awful. And like you said, what's he, 57th ranked safety right now?
57th. He's got his sacks, and that's fine. But, he's still not playing well this year. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, how about that whiff on that touchdown that he gave up on the other day? Now I get it. Okay, maybe his groin's bothering him, but he backed off on that play.
Yeah, I saw something about his safety or his shoulder or something. All I know is it was a horrible look, and I don't want to be too hard on an injured player, but if you're on the field, you're on the field. You go make the play, right, or you shouldn't be out there. That's it.
That's right. Marty Lyons played with 2 shoulder harnesses in the playoffs. I forgot what year it was because he had 2 bum shoulders, but he played and you would never know it. And maybe Jamal Adams should take a look at a guy like Marty Lyons, and then maybe he could fix the rest of his career. I got to run this by you real quick.
Yeah.
Donald, it looks like he's going to miss the next 2 games. You got 5 games left. In my books, okay, I think it's worth the investment to sit him out the rest of the year, because of trade value, or if it works out where if you can't draft a quarterback, if you have to bring him back, you want him to be healthy. I think in 4 or 5 games, it's not going to determine what you see out of Sam, because I think, the book is written right now, and I think, an extra couple of games this year is not going to make a difference.
I agree wholeheartedly, and thanks for the call. I don't understand what is to be gained by playing Sam Darnold another down the rest of the season. And you might say, well, we can find out about him. You're not going to find out a damn thing about him because you're the same folks who have been complaining that he doesn't have anything to work with. Okay, so he's got his full complement of starting receivers. They're still not world beaters. Mims is still a rookie. Crowder has been very good. You look at the rest. I mean, what exactly makes you think that somehow that Darnold is going to magically get better over the last 3 games of the year and prove that he's not the guy? No. They need to keep him healthy. They need to make sure that he is still going to be valued on the trade market. And if they can get a 2 and a 5, I think it would be fantastic. I have thought all along, I did not think that they would get more than a 3rd and a 5th maybe. But, hey, if they get a 2nd-round pick, they did a phenomenal job. And even if they are in a situation where Trevor Lawrence doesn't want to be here, I'm all about Justin Fields, guys. I'm good on either one. 800-919-3776. 800-919-ESPN. We'll spend more time on Sam and that situation later on tonight, but we got a lot of calls here about Jamal. We've got a lot of NBA to get to. If you can tell me where James Harden is going, you are a soothsayer, because there's a few different situations that are unfolding right now where maybe it's not Brooklyn, maybe it's Boston. They're apparently trying to do some things, and that could involve the Knicks. What? Yeah, I said it. It's all there. We're going to get to it shortly. Carlin, 98.7 ESPN.
With a world-class whiskey distillery in the Utah ski capital of Park City, High West is proud to sponsor the U.S. ski and snowboard team. And as Utah's first legal distillery since 1870, they know what it means to go off the beaten path. Pick up some trail-breaking campfire-sipping whiskey from the West and taste for yourself. Each bottle is thoughtfully sourced, deliciously blended, and proudly made for whiskey lovers like you. Sip responsibly. Whiskey 40 to 50% alcohol by volume. High West Distillery, Park City, Utah.
It's true, but I just feel like that's
Spectrum Mobile is the fastest-growing mobile
Jamal
provider
went
in
out
the
of his
nation.
way to get
It's easy to see
everything
why
that he wanted,
millions
and
have
that was
chosen a better way to mobile. With Spectrum Mobile, there are no
And,
contracts and no
you know,
added
the fact
fees.
that he
Even
did it the way
nationwide
he did
5G
it.
is included at no extra cost. Switch today and you could
Garbage.
save big. Grab your current mobile bill and
Are we
use
doing
the
a live
Spectrum
here?
Mobile Savings Calculator to see how much you can save.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Slash
What
saving
else? Other
today.
comments?
Spectrum Internet required based on Q2 2020 subscriber data. Services not
Joe
available in
at
all areas. Restrictions apply.
There's more to
Has
press.
this pandemic translated to more drinking? I'm Arlene Gonzalez Sanchez, Commissioner of the New York State Office of Addiction Services and Supports. If you or someone you know is worried about their drinking, New York State has services to prevent and treat alcohol use disorders.
Check in here.
Call New York State's Helpline 877-846-7369 or go to oasas.ny.gov.
Sure, the players bring some skill to the game, but if I don't put them in my lineup, who cares? Not me. I'm Eric Rubino, fantasy baseball GM and league runner-up 2 of the last 9 years. I use the progressive Name Your Price tool with options based on my budget. And for a guy that's used to being in control, it fits. Like this runner-up t-shirt. Champ gets a trophy, but you can't wear a trophy. Boom.
Get options based on your budget with Progressive, even if you're not a legend in your own mind. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dealing with battery problems? We can help you out and get you ready for the colder weather ahead. Let's start with a free battery test. If you just need a free charge, we can help with that too.
Here we go.
Carlin, 98.7 ESPN 800-919-3776 on Twitter. By all means, check in there at Chris Carlin. We will get to some of those here very shortly. In fact, let's see here. Irish Mike, this is about Jamal. I took so much heat for hating that blank day 2 of his career. I knew he was a narcissist. That kills me. Everyone that blanks on him now told me I was dying on a blanking mountain. Well, get up on that mountain and scream, big dog. You got it. Today is your day. Let's see here. Any others worth getting to? I should probably look at them in advance, huh? Let's see if we can try that. Calls next, 800-919-3776. Let us check in with Sal in Brooklyn. Sal, what's going on?
What up, C? How are you?
Good, Sal. How you doing, brother?
All right, cool. Thank you very much. Hey, it was every Jet fan under the sun. If it was 50-50 that was defending this guy as well, and of course everybody's going to jump off the wagon right now, but this guy was trouble from jump. And like Ira said, he was covered by Williams putting him in positions where he really wasn't exposed as much as he was. And it was like that old movie Shaft in the 70s. He let his mouth get his backside in trouble a little bit. Too much talking and not enough play on the field. So, you know what, Jamal? Get the Jets and New York out of your vocabulary. Go do what you're doing. Keep yelling with your coach on the sideline, a Super Bowl winning coach at that. And then take your problems to Seattle, because you know what, New York is tired of you, and do your thing. But as far as Sam Darnold, I'll be honest with you, here's where we disagree a little bit. If he's healthy enough to play, I mean, I know you're trying to hide him. You got to play him because game is not practice, and it's just
it's not. But if the Jets are going to have the number 1 overall pick, Sam's not going to be here next year. And Sam has not stayed healthy. There is not a need to run him back out there and get him hurt again if you're trying to trade him this offseason.
Okay, but if he's not going to play, everybody knows what they got. But what if? It's the old what if game, because you're going to pick a quarterback regardless. What if one of those 2 games that he comes back for, he really shows something with some kids and puts up like a 275-yard day?
I'll tell you what. That to me would be
anyway.
that to me would be the equivalent, and thanks for the call, of watching somebody in September in baseball and tearing it up when it doesn't matter. You know, that's why I had such an issue with the Jets making such a big deal about how well they finished last year. Because, yeah, they played great in the second half of the year. They started the year 1-7 or 1-8, whatever it was. And, okay, they played good down the stretch of the year, but it didn't matter at that point. They finished 6-2, and you felt like you had some things to build on, but turns out you really didn't. So I don't understand where that would make you think that you're going to be able to look at Sam and evaluate him properly over the last 3 games of the year when you haven't presumably won a game yet. No. You have to protect the asset. That's what that is. You have to make sure that a team like the 49ers is going to be interested in trading for Sam. They should be. I still think Sam can be a good quarterback in this league. But if the Jets have an opportunity to get a second-round pick and a fifth-round pick, and even if the second-round pick is next year, whatever it is, you have to go and do it and add as you continue to try to build. They have a ton of flexibility to work with here. They really do. Joe in Colonia is next. Joe, what's going on, dude?
Hey, Chris, thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
You know what? I thought I knew you, but I did not know that you or family members fought depression.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And I just want to say, you know, I've been listening to you from the IMUS and all those days, and a few people I work with do listen to your show, and I'm going to say something now that nobody knows. But I take medication, and I see someone once, you know, a few times a month for depression. And your show helps me through it.
I really appreciate that, Joe. And I think that the fact that anybody willing to talk about it, to me, is really doing
right.
And I'm not patting myself on the back here. I'm patting you on the back here because it's the single most misunderstood illness that we have, and it's still to a degree. It's getting more. I don't even want to say the word accepted. Understood, I think, is a better word, because it's not so much about people just telling you to be tough and toughen up and get through it. You know, it's not that.
And like I said, a few guys I work with listen to your show. They have no idea, and I'm sure they'll talk to me tomorrow about it. But like
Joe,
I said,
you're a brave guy for saying it, and I give you credit.
Thank you, and I want to thank you and the gentleman that answers the phones. And when I call, I always try to make myself the butt of all jokes, because if I can make someone laugh, that helps me through it. And I just want to thank you for, you know, sharing what you went through and what I could say to you. And once again, just thank you, Chris. I appreciate it.
No problem, Joe. As always, it's good to talk to you. Thanks for checking in. Appreciate that. It is getting more recognized. It is getting more understood because more people are talking about it, and that needs to happen. And listen, that's why I'm hesitant to come down on Jamal. I could easily just spend 15 minutes obliterating him and putting him into the cancel culture type mentality, to the point where, I mean, if you want to, you can make this a viral moment. If I'm going to be that guy, I'm not going to be that guy in this instance, because I just don't think he was understanding what he was doing in equating the two. Depression is not being upset after losing games. It's not depression. But Jamal, and a lot of people don't know the difference between what depression and feeling every day sad is. Depression, the best way it was ever explained to me, and I'll get off it after this, because we do want to do what we do, and that's have fun and sit in the sandbox and talk about sports. But if you ever want to think about it, there are two ways it's been described to me if you want to understand what depression is. Depression is sitting in a chair, and if somebody told you that a magic pill was sitting right in front of you on a table and would solve all of your problems with it, and you would instantly feel better, you still wouldn't reach over to get it because of what's going on in your mind, because of the chemical issues that are there too. Think about that. It's sitting right in front of you, and you wouldn't reach to grab it. The other way it's been described to me is equating it with a physical injury. Just simply imagine trying to run a marathon with a broken leg. Can't do it. There are a lot of days where that feels like trying to run a marathon with a broken leg. 800-919-3776. 800-919-ESPN. The latest on Russell Westbrook. Yes, we're going to keep bringing his name up until he's a Knick or somewhere else. That is coming in just moments. And we will also discuss James Harden and how Boston could be a possibility. And Theo Epstein left the Cubs today. Carlin, 98.7 ESPN.
Do you hate wearing...
Nice. You are down. Matt,
All right.
UFC, Yankees? Who takers?
Really comfortable. I tried butter.
We'll
You're
talk
still
about
going to
it.
have Brian Cashman for 3 more years?
Oh, sure.
Costco in Brooklyn, Bottle Hampton in Southampton, and AH Liquors next to Costco in Lawrence. Tullamore reminds you to enjoy their whiskey responsibly and safely this football season. 40% alcohol by volume. William Grant & Sons, New York, New York.
It's getting cold out there, which means that special time is upon us when the New York Lottery releases their seasonal scratch-off games. This year, we have 4 new tickets that make the perfect gift, including Wintergreen Cashword and Snow Me the Money, which even has a little section where you can write who it's for, making it a gift and a gift tag. The seasonal scratch-off games from the New York Lottery, available now. You must be 18 years or older to purchase a lottery ticket. Please gift responsibly.
Hey, Tri-State, Dunkin' has your back by making mobile ordering as easy as possible. They'll get you in, out, and on the go, so you'll be feeling good to go. It takes 2 simple steps. First, place your order and pay through the Dunkin' app. Or second, pick up your order in-store or from the drive-thru for an easy, contactless experience. When you're on the go, Dunkin' is here to keep you running. America runs on Dunkin'.
New York, we miss you. We can't wait to return to our home court, the Garden. Get priority access for the 2020-2021 Knicks season and place your deposit today. And unite with us for the return of the game you love. Visit Knicks.com/2020 now.
Take on the season during Happy Honda Days with financing as low as 0.9% APR on the 2020 Accord and as low as 1.9% APR on the 2020 Civic Sedan on select models from well-qualified buyers.
Coming back here, this is Chris.
Dealer for financing details.
So, apparently the Washington Wizards wanted to get in on Russell Westbrook as well. And what did they bring up? They brought up the idea of sending John Wall to the Rockets for Westbrook. Look, if that's what the best scenario is going to be, and the Knicks don't make a trade to go get him, I just think we're out of our minds here. First of all, if you're the Rockets, why would you ever make that deal? You know, I mean, John Wall is nowhere near the player he should have been. And that's a complete waste of time. $38 million for John Wall. That's how much he's making. John Wall is making $41 million this coming year, $44 million, and then $47. So basically, it's horrible contract for horrible contract. There is no way in hell the Houston Rockets are going to make that trade. And folks, I don't care. I'm going to keep pounding this drum because every day I do what we call a self-evaluation after shows. I honestly look at things like, was there somebody who could have convinced me otherwise today in one of my stances? What am I missing? Is there a piece of information that I could have used to my benefit that I didn't have that would have better made me aware of the situation? And I've done that a lot. Call it self-scouting as a talk show host. Over the last few days, I've looked a lot at Russell Westbrook. What am I missing? Yeah, he was hurt at the end of this past season, whatever this past season was. I look at this guy, and I still see an incredibly talented player who is not at an age that is remarkably prohibitive. Think about this for a second. Chris Paul, you wanted to add here as a guy who's 35 and making an ungodly amount of money. You were ready to bring him in, and I like Chris Paul. But let's be fair. There's not a lot of tread left on the tire. So he goes to Phoenix, where coincidentally, it's a place that they needed somebody who was ready to help younger players go win. The Knicks don't have Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton. They don't have these players. They have R.J. Barrett and Mitchell Robinson. So when that's the case, Paul ends up in the right place. And if you're saying that Leon Rose wanted him to be here to be that guy, I mean, let's be fair about something here. Chris Paul is not at a juncture in his career where he should be coming to a team that doesn't have a chance to win right away. Why would you do that? You wouldn't. You wouldn't. You would bring him to a place where he can guide younger players who are incredibly talented. Now, the combination of Paul, Ayton, and Devin Booker is a pretty damn good one. And it changes the dynamic right away for the Phoenix Suns. That's great for them. Chris Paul here would not have fit. Not in the least. It would have been a situation where, yes, he would have been a good teammate. He would have gone and, tried to help tutor those guys along, the younger players. Maybe he would have had a positive influence in some way on Kevin Knox and started to try to get the best out of him. But in no way would Chris Paul have changed the fortunes of the Knicks in the medium term. He really wouldn't have done it in the short term because there wouldn't have been enough around him. And in the medium term, let's be fair. How much is left? How much is really left for Chris Paul at this point? He's made an absolute fortune. He's under contract at $44 million after this coming season. He's 35 years old. He's been in the league for 15 years. Good. He's somewhere else. Russell Westbrook is 32. He could go out there again and average a triple-double, folks. He had his best scoring year this past year. The Knicks would need him to be a scorer. Russell Westbrook makes the Knicks an exciting player, or a more exciting team. Not an overly exciting team, but a more exciting team. Certainly a more interesting team. And if you're going to sit there and say, well, what are we going to do? Just go back and try to be a 35-win team? You know what? What has being a 22-win team gotten you so far? Not a damn thing. Remember the playoffs? Remember what that was like? Westbrook can actually turn this into a situation where other players want to come here and want to try to win with him here. And I know that you could sit there and talk about how players haven't wanted to come and play with him before and how it fell apart in Houston. He's the one that wanted out in Houston. Do me a favor. When you get a minute, go check out the Athletic story on how it all fell apart in Houston between Westbrook and Harden. And yeah, I keep hearing they're still the best of friends. That's great. I was really worried about their personal relationship. Just read about how it fell apart and why it fell apart. And granted, it feels like a somewhat one-sided story, but if the majority of it is accurate, I'm good bringing them here. I'm fine with it. Someone who's going to demand accountability, I'm supposed to be against that? That's just remarkably silly. Remarkably silly. I get it. They didn't get anywhere in the playoffs when he was in OKC the last few years. I understand. I know how it all fell apart. Is that all on him? Every mellow defender that's out there. Every time I attacked him for that, it's not all his fault. There's nobody to play with. Westbrook is an infinitely better player. Infinitely better player than Carmelo Anthony ever was. This is not another Melo situation. This is still bringing in a player who, while Melo was in his prime to a degree still, this guy he's just better in his prime. He's more exciting. He's somebody that immediately gives you credibility. Remember what credibility used to look like? That was fun. God, look at the last 20 years. And you want to be content to sit and watch R.J. Barrett develop and Mitchell Robinson develop when it's pretty clear we know what they're not, and they're not going to be these guys? We don't think they're going to be these guys. Do you think R.J. is going to be a star in the league? I think he's going to be a very good player when he tops out. I think Mitchell Robinson's going to be a very good athletic center when he tops out. They haven't gotten there yet. There is nothing about either one of them that makes me think superstar, franchise player. Nope, don't see it. The Knicks actually have to have one of those, and they can bring one in without completely destroying their salary cap. What is unattractive about that? You can afford to do this and still do more. And maybe he has an effect on these other players where they get better. And maybe somebody else wants to go play with him at the Garden. And the next thing you know, the Knicks are actually relevant one more time. What a nice little change of pace that would be. It's been a while. I won't understand it. I really won't. And I got to tell you the best part about it. The fashion. If you know me, you know I am a bit of a fashion connoisseur. Fashion week, busiest week of the year for me. And I'm looking at some of these Westbrook outfits and I'm thinking, you make that in a 2X? And if you're a slim fit, okay, I'll go to the 3X if we have to. But,
15.
If you do, maybe we're looking at that. Excitement. Remember what that was? It was fun. He brings excitement. Carlin, 98.7 ESPN.
Hey,
You are down.
Are you tired of paying all those